Most of us don't know a lot about cars. I certainly do not.
No, I don't really either.
Yeah, so when something goes wrong, it's hard to know where to turn for help.
It is. Where can you get free advice without heading to the shop? Right here on The Blend, that's where.
We're pretty lucky. Welcome back from Certified Transmission, Amanda Fink.
Good to see you, Amanda.
Welcome.
It's going good.
Going well.
Good.
Busy time of year because it's cold outside. People are having problems. So we're going to start out with our winter-related questions this morning. And first up is Mandy. And this is actually a very good question that we can all relate to. She wants to know, just how important is it to wash off all the salt off of my car? It's been so cold and I don't want to wash it. I feel her pain.
I mean, how many of us really want to spend money on a car wash? I don't.
It's just going to get
dirty.
dirty.
I feel like it's so
dirty the
expensive
next couple
too.
days, yeah.
You know, it's like $10 to get a good one, but it is actually very important, unfortunately. We are here in the Midwest where we got snow and ice, and so they use that salt. And it's not just normal salt. They put chemicals in it and stuff, and that chemical is actually really hard on your car. It can cause corrosion to the subframe, to brake parts, to wiring, electrical components. So that can make things break, and it just is really corruptive to your vehicle, actually. So how often should you wash it? I mean, try in the winter, you know, especially when they put that fresh salt down and stuff, try and get it off, and especially the underside of the vehicle and everything. A light wash or a cheaper wash is better than nothing at all. And I know you don't want to do it when it's 0 and 10 degrees out, but when we've had kind of these a little bit nicer days when it's 20, 30, you know, try and get it done every couple weeks or so is probably a good idea.
Well, listen, you've been coming on the show a long time, and I've heard that this question has been asked before. And one of the things you want to do is make sure when it gives you the option for the underbody wash, you want to get that underbody wash.
Well, that's where all the salt and chemicals are anyway, and that's what'll rust out your vehicle. You buy a car down in Texas, they have like no rust on them because they don't have that salt down there, but it just happens a lot more here for us,
When your car's the nicest one on the road, because I've seen cars that are freshly washed compared to everyone else's, and they just stand out. I mean, your car looks so nice.
Or just don't buy a black car like me, and then it always looks a lot better.
Well, my red car looks pretty bad too. So.
Let's get to this next question. It comes from Mark. It seems like my car loses air pressure in the tires much more quickly in the winter. What causes that?
This is probably another one that's great for everybody because this happens to me every year, everyone I know. Just in the winter, your tires are going to lose some PSI. It just depends on how cold it is. But typically you actually lose 1 PSI per 10 degrees that's going down.
Wow.
Really?
So the thing is though, like once we have these really cold temperatures where it's, 0, 10, 20 degrees, you fill them up to where they're supposed to be, and then they shouldn't go down again, not for that winter. If they continue to go down, then you probably have some sort of leakage problem. It could be something like where your tire is actually meeting with your wheel, and it could have to be cleaned off, and they actually have like a sealant where they can like beat it so that it's not losing any air, because you need to make sure that your tires don't go low. You can get a flat tire then. That happened to me recently, so no fun.
It's cold. No, you do not want that.
No, definitely not.
No, not at all. Well, last up is Jeremy, and he wants to know, I just had the battery replaced in my 2003 GMC Yukon 2 weeks ago, and now I have a battery not charging message and a red light. It's still running though. Do you have any ideas what's wrong, or idea of what's wrong?
Yeah, on your electrical, on your charging system, it's not just the battery. A lot of people think battery, $100, okay, replace the battery and everything will be fine. But your battery and your alternator work side by side. I mean, one has to be working for the other to be working properly. Otherwise, one is going to be working harder than the other. So probably, unfortunately, what happened was the battery was going low, the battery was going bad, which means the alternator has to work even harder. So even though you put in a new battery, there's still probably something wrong with the charging system. Hopefully nothing major, but I would get the alternator checked out to make sure that that's working properly, because otherwise, if the alternator is not working properly, it's going to be harder on his new battery. Right. And then the life isn't going to be as long on that new one. So they kind of go hand in hand. Probably going to have to get that one checked out to see what's going on with the charging system.
Gotcha. Yep. Good answer. One of the questions, I got a buddy who has to get a new transmission. He's debating, right? Do I get a new transmission? Because transmissions, they can be expensive. Or do I trade it in and get a new car? And I'm sure that's one of those questions you get when people come in, they find out that they have a severe transmission problem, they need a new transmission. How do you advise people in that situation?
Actually, we don't usually think about it, but the second most expensive thing that people own, besides a house, is their vehicle. And so, unfortunately, besides an engine, the transmission is the most expensive thing to replace on a car. So we are doing this exact question, helping our customers every day decide, do I put a transmission in this thing or do I replace it?
Yeah.
Or do I get a different car?
Yeah, get rid of it.
Yeah, and I mean, it's depends on the situation, depends on the person, the car, how many miles are on it. There's a lot of things that matter. My boyfriend works down at Todd Archer and sells cars down there, so he's like, tell them to get a new car. They just need to get a new one, you know. And they've got lots of good deals out right now and everything. But at the same time, if you don't have that many miles on it and you like the car and it's paid off, you know, then it can be of value to fix it. And then your vehicle still holds the value and you're going to keep it for a while, then all those things are great. But it just kind of depends on the situation. So, I mean, this is something that we help our customers deal with every day, because we're not going to, if your car has a lot of problems, we're going to tell you that. We're not going to try and sell you a transmission and be like, oh, you have all these other problems we're going to ignore. Like, we're going to tell you up front, like, okay, this vehicle is kind of on the down road, you know, downhill. So we've got to decide what to do.
Well, before we go, we have a few seconds left. Are you going to go down to the auto show this week? It's kicking off this morning. You're a car girl.
Well, I have to. My son would be so mad at me. My dad would be mad at me if I didn't go down, and if I didn't take my son down there to take some pictures. So yes, we will definitely be going down, probably on Saturday.
That's a good one. They got that DeLorean down there. Back to the Future.
Cool.
Certified transmission. 5 area locations. Just go to certifiedtransmission.com. Amanda, thanks for coming in today.
Yes, thank you.
Thanks.
We'll see you soon.
Good to see you guys.
Yeah, you betcha. Guest of the Morning Blend.